Tuesday, July 8th. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. What an honor it is that you're spending some of your time with me here today. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so honored by it. I'm not going to take much time away from you. This is going to be a short one, maybe one of our quickest shows that we've ever done live at 11 a.m. here on the West Coast. I got to go get my peepers checked. Got to go get some new glasses. So little appointment downtown. And truthfully, it's a very slow time of the year here. We are waiting for football. Larry and I did a wake up this morning where we basically said we're in the calm before the storm period. Outside of some Wimbledon results and some dwindling first half baseball action before we get to the All-Star game, there really isn't a lot going on except for our good friend Draymond telling tales that need to be told. And that is what we are going to look at today here on the Damon Bruce Show. Only on Damon Bruce Plus. Thanks so much to Ike's for making it all happen. Ike Sandwiches, the best sandwich you're going to find anywhere. Hopefully there'll be an Ike's near you soon. And if not, you're missing out. I mean, just look at what you're missing out on. That's a Jeremy Roenick right there. Oh, that is absolutely delicious. The Kelsey Plum. She is now out there in the WNBA. She's a delicious sandwich, but no one has ever been more delicious than me. Look at that. Steak sandwich, steak sauce, beer battered onion rings. Put a little provolone on it. I would ditch the tomatoes, and I always get it on a soft roll. I don't like the Dutch crunch cutting the roof of my mouth, but get yourself to Ike's. You'll be very, very happy that you did. And make sure you sign up for that Love Rewards program. You will be happy when you start earning your way towards free sandwiches. Delicious things. Speaking of delicious, our good friends at the Dubliner got a delicious afternoon at a bar just waiting for you, an evening. Get on in there, say hello to our good friends Kenny and John, and tell them that the Plus sent you. Dubliner, West Portal, best Guinness pull in the city of San Francisco. Take my word for it. Actually, don't take my word for it. Go find out yourself why the Dubliner and West Portal just a perfect little gem bar for you to hop into. I don't know, next time you're watching the Giants, what do you got, a Valkyries game coming up on the schedule? I'm sure they're going to put that on in there. And then it is 61 days away. 61 days away right now from 49ers Seahawks first Sunday of the NFL season. But what we want to talk about here today is how very, very little has happened in free agency around the NBA this year. Now, made most extreme, if you don't mind me saying, by this graphic right here. I mean, every team in the NBA has done a little bit of something, except for one of them. I mean, even the San Antonio Spurs signed Luke Cornett. There you go. Bottom left-hand corner, that is the Warriors with not a single bullet point of transaction attached to them. Nothing has happened. They've added no one. Oh, they're kicking this can on Al Horford. They're thinking about maybe Al Horford. Al Horford is maybe thinking about retirement. So how excited you're supposed to get over there. But look at that. Every team in the NBA has done something. But believe me, there's a whole bunch of nothing in a lot of those bullet points as well. And that is because of a new CBA, which is basically handcuffed teams to a new concept of how much they can and cannot spend, and players who, I don't think there's a single player in the NBA who doesn't believe that he deserves the Supermax. It is ridiculous. You got just guys in this league making $25-30 million a season with some of these contracts that are being handed out to players that, again, are just kind of guys. Leave it to Draymond Green. And look, no matter what you say about Draymond, he's a smart guy. And he understands basketball business very, very well. And he was writing, I think this was on Threads. I guess people are doing Threads. That's happening. Oh, okay, here we go. Anyways, Draymond wrote, and I want to read this to you. Dear Diary, he starts out. I'm sitting in my man cave having a conversation with my wife, baffled at the fact that NBA free agency is over. Quite frankly, it never really started. The level of anticipation leading to July 1st was as exciting as fireworks on the 4th. It was the excitement of the NBA Finals, yet only a week after watching a team spray champagne and ride on floats. One can only point, writes Draymond, to the new CBA and that second apron, which is basically, as he says, a hard cap now for absolutely putting an end to free agency as we once knew it. Sadly, I sit here and I watch so many players overplay the market and not understand what they're up against with the new rules, which leads me to trying to understand the unstaggering percentage of guys, maybe he means staggering percentage of guys, that has no idea of the business that they are a part of. And I, as a vet in this league, watch players mismanage their careers, and before they know it, they're looking back like, damn, where to next? I can go so far as this, but I really don't feel like typing it all right now because there are so many arms to this topic. Again, most people say legs to a topic, but not Draymond. He's going with arms. As an insane amount and then add in my personal experience with it, I have to think this is I have an extremely unique perspective on all this. I'm obviously a player. A former amazing general manager is one of my close friends. He's talking about Bob Myers. I'm very close with previous owners and current ones. I was introduced to the business at the age of 16. So I'll say it's interesting to watch and also be a part of. Maybe I'll write some long piece or maybe just do a podcast. But regardless of where I decide to let these thoughts out, it should have been as Players Association president. I could have helped out a lot. He drops a little shrug emoji on the world there, too. The league is great. It's been great to all of us. Amazing partnerships among players, staff, front office, ownership, and fans that make the well-oiled machine soar, and rightfully so. But it's baffling to me how little players know about this business, how it affects them in ways that most don't understand. Funny thing is, I've said this before at the last CBA. Again, this second apron is just killing the way that teams have done business over and over again. The trying to assemble a really scary basketball team due to the salaries that everyone is now commanding has been rendered basically impossible. If you're paying 3 guys top dollar, you have very little money left for the other, 9 spots on your roster? I'm not saying the guys should have to leave money on the table, but how money is spent and allocated, as I've said, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander about to be a guy making, 75, 78 million per season? These contracts are unsustainable to the NBA. And I know that it's related to the amount of money that they've agreed upon in their last CBA and all that stuff, but it's unsustainable. At some point, the genie needs to go back in the bottle of everybody asking for top dollar the very minute they think they're in the right to ask for it. Not everybody can be maxed out. Everybody's agreeing to a max, a super max. It's too much. It's too much, and it's rendering the league harder to watch. It's also, rendered the league more up in the air in terms of anybody could win at any time now. That's not the NBA that I grew up watching. The NBA, and you could say this was a problem, it became too predictable. Well, predictable at the top is kind of something that the league grew on because you knew you had superstars and superstar teams, and that was commanding the audience, and this is what we watched and paid attention to. By the way, Draymond also puts in at the end of this, and before y'all make this about Jonathan Kuminga, it isn't. He's 22. He'll be a great player. He'll make a bunch of money. So this is not. This has got nothing to do with him. So for those of you who wanted to hijack what Draymond is talking about and apply it specifically to the Warriors, he's saying don't do that. That's not what this rant is about. It's not a disguised criticism of how Jonathan Kuminga is managing his own career. But it's got to be a little bit of a criticism as to what the Warriors are doing because they haven't done anything. They're the only team in the NBA that has looked at free agency and said, nah, not yet. Now what? There's talk of maybe Al Horford, maybe DeAnthony Melton. Oh, I saw a rumor that Bradley Beal's considering the Warriors. It's getting to the point where the Warriors are taking on the identity of the San Francisco Giants when it comes to adding free agent players. The Giants cannot sign a free agent hitter to save their lives. And believe me, if Rafael Devers' production doesn't start turning around, I don't know if they ever will. People are going to look at that ballpark and just say it gobbles up careers and statistics, and you don't want to go there. Now, you could say that the Warriors don't nearly represent the opportunity to win an NBA championship that they used to, but this is a great market, a great organization. You play with Hall of Fame caliber players, but you've got three guys making so much money that adding anybody that could really change things is hard to do. Well, Joe Lacob is just going to devil may care spend. I mean, you're talking about him dropping $500 million on an NBA roster if you go over that second apron. It's so punitive, like Draymond said in parentheses, it might as well be a hard cap. It's robbing the NBA of offseason interest. It's robbing fans of getting excited about another year. This obviously doesn't apply to every team. The teams that are doing well in free agency had years that allowed them to have the space to add the player that makes the difference, because that difference-making player is now commanding such a salary that swapping him out for anyone else, it's impossible. The new CBA that Adam Silver has installed in this league, I don't know if it's good for it. You know, the guys at the very, very, very top clearly get broken off insane chunks of money right now. But the middle class, the working class of the NBA, you have been totally replaced by the concept of just bring in a veteran on league minimum for a veteran, or rookie in a rookie salary, and everyone else can go to Europe. When Draymond speaks, sometimes you need to ignore it. And there are other times when you really need to listen to what he's saying, and I think he's spot on with all of this. This league has been great. But right now, under the parameters of the new CBA, it is so restricted. Movement. It's so restricted. The opportunity to grow a roster. Yeah. Yes. God bless me. It's hurting. It's hurting the league. It's certainly hurting the Warriors. You have a system that is now built to penalize teams that have drafted and developed the right way. Klay Thompson could still be a Golden State Warrior if there weren't a second apron. Now, I don't even know if that's necessarily good for the Warriors, but just hear me out. The second apron might as well be called the Lacob rule. The second apron was installed to prevent a team from retaining its, we've crafted throughout our draft and through roster construction, a roster that we all like to keep together, most of them selected by us out of the draft. And I know that there's been recent draft picks that make you roll your eyes at that, but the Warriors, like any team in the NBA, gets pinioned under their own success. You know, we're 2 seasons away from watching the Oklahoma City Thunder walk away from a lot of young, talented players that they drafted around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is making so much money that you can pay him that, one other guy, another big contract, and then everybody else has got to be on a minimum. It's time for the NBA to say, do we really need to protect billionaire owners from spending too much money? Is that our job? Or is the job of the NBA to facilitate the most interesting teams, quality off seasons, and reasons to lean in to a team staying together and staying good? You know, this is a league that is actively trying to tear success apart. And that is almost like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Thought it was interesting stuff from Draymond on an otherwise sleepy, slow little news day. And you're right, E. Scott Burns, Oklahoma City has a vault of draft picks. Here's the thing. God forbid Oklahoma City hit on all those draft picks. They won't be able to keep any of that together. It's weird. Now, SF Indigo, kind of ironic that Dre is complaining when his contract is a giant albatross that's that was taken into account his past. Look, there are elements of Draymond's contract that you look at and you go, that's nuts. But then you look around the rest of the NBA and you say, for a guy that's won that much, that is that important, that plays that much defense, that is a defensive player of the year candidate, it's not insane. Again, if anybody in the NBA is allowed to make $25, $30 million a year, Draymond's got to be one of them. Just looking at him from a point standpoint says maybe he's not worth that. But when you look at everything else, he is. Anyways, like I said, there's sometimes you got to listen to what Draymond says, and there's other times where you just got to kind of roll your eyes and be like, all right, buddy. But on this one, I think he's totally onto something. And more players should speak up. I like that Draymond is willing to say things like it's the NBA equivalent of fuck John Fisher. By the way, there you go. I am dripping in Last Dive Bar paraphernalia once again. Why wouldn't I? My favorite designer. So I told you today was going to be a short one. I got nothing else to even cram in there in terms of sports. Like the Giants have got a little bit of a winning streak going. They beat the Phillies last night. Congratulations to them. Keep it on going. 2 more with the Phillies before the Dodgers get in town. Close this first half on a winning streak. Go to the All-Star break. Rest up. Think about adding another bat during the trade deadline because you need one. And we'll see where that goes. Like I said, 61 days away from a little something that we like to call kicking off up in Seattle. And, I do need to let you know that one of my favorite analysts out there looking at the NFL is Warren Sharp. Warren will be joining me for a recording tomorrow in a video that will be out tomorrow night of Warren Sharp breaking down not just the 49ers, but handicapping the NFC West as it is. And I think he's one of the smartest, most interesting guys out there. And I'm really looking forward to that. We'll be back, of course, doing an 11 a.m. show. Normal running time as well will be attached to tomorrow's show. But again, Daddy's got to boogie and get his peepers checked out. So here we go with Today in History. And as always, my good friends, we start with birthdays. Happy birthday to Jeffrey Tambor, turning 80 years old. I don't care what else he has done in his career or what he has been lauded as. That's been great. That's been nominated for Emmys. He is Hank Kingsley from The Larry Sanders Show. That's it. Jeffrey Tambor's turn is Hank Kingsley on The Larry Sanders Show, which outside of The Sopranos, The Wire, and The Game of Thrones, it's the greatest thing that's ever been on HBO, really. Happy birthday, Jeffrey Tambor, 80. Angelica Houston turned 73. Kevin Bacon, sizzling at 66 years old. Beck is 55 years old. Musician Beck. That makes you feel a little old. And I'm going to put this out there only because I saw something positive about him the other day. Jaden Smith, Will Smith's kid, is 26 years old. I think he was in the Karate Kid Part 7 or whatever that was. I read a story that because he's the son of a multi-millionaire and he doesn't have to worry about a buck any day of his life, he's opened a restaurant in LA that caters to the homeless. So there you go, Jaden Smith at 26 years old. You even make the list today, even though I think you were in the Karate Kid something and your dad slapped Chris Rock, but you're opening a restaurant to feed people in LA, and I appreciate that, so happy birthday to him. Sip of the day has long since passed. That's a cold cup of coffee we're working on right there. Today, in 1776, the Liberty Bell rang outside of the Pennsylvania State House, which is now called Independence Hall, and they rang the Liberty Bell, so everyone would come from around for the very first reading of the Declaration of Independence, which sadly has been canceled by the current administration. By the way, in the year 1800, today, Dr. Benjamin Waterhouse gave the smallpox vaccination to his son. It was performed in the United States using a cowpox serum to prevent smallpox. It was a huge success. And again, 225 years later, we're doubting vaccines because we are a nation of idiots. Today in 1889, Journalist Charles Henry Dow published the first ever issue of the Wall Street Journal. So there you go. Happy birthday to the Wall Street Journal. Talking about they don't make them like this no more. This would probably be illegal if you allowed something to go on this long in a boxing ring. But today in 1889, in the last heavyweight championship to be held under the London prize ring rules, John L. Sullivan beat Jake Kilrain in 75 rounds. Like 12 rounds of boxing is a lot. 75 rounds of boxing? Like, how do you answer the bell in round 70? Much less go 5 more rounds. You know, they don't make them like they used to, kids. We go from 1889 to absolutely nothing in world history happened on this day until today in 1995, where TLC's Waterfalls was released. That was the #1 song in America. Don't go chasing waterfall. Good song, man. TLC had some hits. There's no doubt about it. Also, if you would like to feel old today, oh, you've come to the right place, because I got a "you're going to feel old" sentence for you right now. Today in 1996, the Spice Girls released their debut single, "Wannabe." I tell you what I want, what I really, really want. That happened today, 29 years ago. That's insane. 29 years ago. God, we're getting old. God, we are getting old. Especially me. Yeah, there you go. Nathaniel, yeah, definitely feel old now. 29 years. I'll tell you what, go and watch that video. Mel B's breasts defy gravity throughout all of it. Salute to that. Finally, today, the orbiter Atlantis was launched into outer space for the very last space shuttle mission in 2011. You know, we got a lot of like private companies going to space. How come we haven't been back to the moon? Seriously. Feels like we should go back to the moon. Everyone wants to go like straight to Mars now. Can we go back to the moon? Check that out. No, never mind. We should probably spend money to help people here on Earth. Oh, never mind. Apparently, that's not going to be happening anytime soon. I'm going to go spend a little bit of money at an optometrist so I can see you all better in the coming days, weeks, and months, and we'll have an awful lot more coming up for you here on Damon Bruce Plus. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching what was a quick one today. I promised it would be a quick one. Daddy's got to run. Get them peepers checked. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, for listening. If you're doing that on the podcast, like and subscribe if you would, please. And do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone.